Miserable weather sweeps the state, plus record-setting support for a new state question, and a popular Norman diner is set to reopen. OU Nightly starts now. Good evening and thanks for joining us for OU Nightly. I'm Cal Day.
And I'm Mariah Condiff. A dramatic change in the weather today.
That's right. OU Nightly's Taylor Stephenson is live in the middle of this cold and rainy Thursday. Taylor?
Right now it is sitting in the 40s for our temperatures. Yesterday we were sitting in the 70s and I was wearing shorts, and today I had to bust out the winter coat to keep warm. It's been raining all day and it has been consistently cool in the 40s. Over the past 24 hours we've seen a 32-degree temperature drop here in Norman, and places in that dark purple on the screen, that is places where they saw a 40-degree temperature drop. Places like Woodward have seen temperatures closer to the 30s. Now in the next few minutes, I'm going to talk about the cool down that we could be seeing for the rest of the few days into the weekend. I'm also going to talk about the rain that is coming with this cold front that is going to be continuous into the next few days. And if you thought this was our last cold front for the week, you're dead wrong. We have a cold front coming in the beginning of next week, and that might drop our temperatures even lower. Cal, Mariah, back to you.
Thanks, Taylor. A record-setting number of signatures were turned in this morning in support of a state question that could expand Medicaid in Oklahoma. An Oklahoma citizen movement turned in more than 313,000 signatures this morning. Only 178,000 are required to put the state question on the ballot next November. If approved by voters, the state question would expand Medicaid for nearly 200,000 Oklahomans who make less than $21,000 a year. State Question 802 would also bring Oklahoma tax dollars from Washington, D.C. back to the state, and supporters say it could also help keep rural hospitals open.
Well, another change in leadership is underway at the University of Oklahoma. Interim President Joseph Harroz announced through email to all faculty and staff that Lauren Brookie will move out of her role as Vice President of Marketing and Communications on the Norman campus. Brookie will step into a new role on the OU Tulsa campus. The change comes amid the university restructuring and redoubling the Office of University Advancement. Harroz says Mackenzie Dilbeck will fill the capacity in an interim role.
And a few hours ago, the Oklahoma State Board of Education approved a $3.29 billion Common Education budget request for the fiscal year of 2021. State Superintendent Joy Hoffmeister previously submitted the request for this budget with hopes to add more school counselors and state aid for public schools. In efforts to reduce class sizes, Hoffmeister plans for this money to go towards hiring more teachers. Additional funding is requested to fund classroom programs, and other investments. These requests will be a part of the state budget, which the Oklahoma legislature will vote on in the next session.
Well, Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg spent much of his Wednesday on Capitol Hill. The social media guru testified in front of the House Financial Services Committee for more than 6 hours. The hearing quickly turned into a heated debate on political ads and fact-checking policy. Facebook just released its new political advertising policy, saying the social media giant does not fact-check any political ads, instead relying on third-party fact-checkers. Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and other Democrats asked Zuckerberg about questions whether Facebook would take down posts that contain lies or not. Now, Zuckerberg was also questioned about the time it took to take down a video of House Speaker Nancy Pelosi that shows that her speech making it seem like she is slurring her words. The CEO admitted Facebook took too long to respond and that they are working to improve future response times.
And Skylar Talal joins us in this news center with more. Skylar.
Thanks, Mariah. Senator Lindsey Graham rejected Ukraine Ambassador Bill Taylor's testimony this morning. Taylor testified Tuesday, saying that he was told President Trump would withhold military aid to Ukraine unless they made a public statement saying they would investigate former Vice President Joe Biden. Initially, Taylor's testimony was seen as a game changer and points to quid pro quo. However, Senator Graham said it is just hearsay unless it is tested. Vice President Mike Pence accused the NBA of acting like a wholly owned subsidiary of the authoritarian regime.
Nike promotes itself as a so-called social justice champion. But when it comes to Hong Kong, it prefers checking its social conscience at the door.
Pence also accused the NBA and Nike of putting business interests over American values, while Trump prioritized trade talks instead of condemning Beijing's actions in Hong Kong. Citizens in California have faced power outages that have left part of 17 counties without power. These intentional blackouts come from the fear of sparking more wildfires across California. Yet residents have become unhappy with the utility company's decision to turn the power off. Governor Gavin Newsom sent a letter to the utility companies criticizing them for not following blackout protocols. These companies are supposed to notify local and state emergency officials at least 72 hours before the shutoffs and only use them as a last resort. Back to you at the desk.
Thank you, Skylar. The search for mass graves is bringing new light to the Tulsa race riot. Coming up, how a piece of Tulsa's history is being remembered at the nation's capital.
And Fire Up the Grill, a popular Norman restaurant, is reopening. Find out which one and when OU Nightly continues.
The search for mass graves is putting the Tulsa race riot of 1921 back in the spotlight. OU Nightly's Sydney Forsey reports on how an institute in D.C. will keep the riot's legacy alive.
Among the landmarks on the National Mall stands the newest Smithsonian building, the National Museum of African American History. The Power of Place exhibit opened with the museum in 2016 and features Tulsa's own dark past.
And one of the stories that we felt was crucial to tell was the story of both racial violence and the resilience of people following the Tulsa Massacre of 1921.
Curator Paul Gargiulo's exhibit showcases 10 different cities that shaped Black history and culture. The nation's biggest racially motivated massacre in Tulsa illustrates America's history of racial violence and how a Black community was destroyed.
When you begin to think about how do you collect around a riot, it's pretty complicated. So what you're really beginning to think about is how to tell a story from remnants. And so that really involves getting in touch with families.
Burnt pennies, pictures, and manuscripts were given to the museum by Oklahomans.
They help to foster a sense of the importance of this story and not hiding this story from public.
Old photographs show horrific scenes that the museum's curators hope will spark conversations about race in America.
We hope that we can foster a conversation and continue to foster conversations in Tulsa. If the National Museum is shining a light on this, certainly Tulsa should be unpacking and grappling with its past.
The story of the riots and its survivors will forever live on here in the nation's capital. Reporting from Washington, D.C., Sydney Forsey, Gaylord News.
To see more of the Tulsa Race Riot exhibit at the National Museum of African American History, follow Gaylord News on Twitter and check back with us for more content.
Well, if you're in the market for your first home, there may not be a better time to buy than right now. Robert McGee joins us now in Money Matters.
Thanks, Cal. Mortgage rates are super low right now, which are bringing new apartment renters into the housing market. When looking for your new home, get your mortgage pre-approved first. This will help you zero in on the price range for a house that you can afford. It also tells sellers that you're serious about buying. Be patient. You could find your dream house, but your offer may not be accepted at first. Lastly, brace yourself for the closing process, which can be both costly and longer than you'd like. For more on home buying tips, check out usatoday.com. And the grounding of Boeing 737 MAXs comes with a high cost. American and Southwest Airlines report a combined $1 billion loss, and that's to increase. Southwest currently has 31 Boeings grounded, which is more than any other airline. 737 MAXs were grounded worldwide last March after 2 crashes killed more than 300 people. In response, Boeing created a $5 billion compensation fund. The company hopes to get their jetliners approved to fly by the end of this year. And Walmart is kicking off its holiday shopping season earlier than ever. They announced their new online deal drop, which starts at midnight tomorrow. Customers can expect deals on all the hottest electronics, toys, and more this season. This is partly due to the shorter than usual shopping season in 2019. There will be 6 fewer shopping days between Thanksgiving and Christmas than there was last year. Walmart says they want their shoppers to make the most of the shorter season. Also, Target, starting November 1st, shoppers can get thousands of items shipped for free with no minimum purchase. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Robert. Breakfast food lovers, listen up. Ozzy's Diner is set to reopen on November 1st. The Norman Eatery has been under construction for nearly 2 months, and longtime customers are anxious for its reopening. Ozzy's owner said there are electrical, plumbing, and draining improvements being made to the diner. Ozzy's boasts it's all-you-can-eat breakfast and all-you-can-eat meal. The restaurant is located on Lexington Avenue near Maz Westheimer Airport. Changes are coming to the Lloyd Noble Center. Coming up, how you can get a better view ahead of the season.
Plus, some parts of the state are seeing snowfall. Yes, snowfall. Taylor tells us that these cold temps are here to stick around.
Yes, Cal, with that cold front that did move through last night, we have some cooler temperatures across the state and even some snow in extreme western Oklahoma. I have all the details after the break. Right now, it is very gloomy outside, and I was just out there, and it's pretty cold here in Oklahoma City. You have those clouds covering the sky, and that's keeping us cool. 43 degrees here in Oklahoma City. That rain is coming down. Those dew point temperatures are at 42 degrees, and that's why we're seeing that rain outside. We have a 24-hour temperature change that was supposed to be seen in my first weather, my live shot, but here we go again. Those 40s out there in Woodward and near Elk City, and all those areas in purple are where we're seeing the most extreme change of temperatures. Here in Norman, we're 33 degrees cooler than what we were yesterday at the same time. With this cold front that came through, we also have some rain. We have about 6 inches of rain over the past 24 hours in McAllister, and then here in Oklahoma, about 1.5 inches of rain, but it's very much needed as Oklahoma is in a drought currently. Now, with this picture that was sent in by Nathan Williams, yes, folks, that is snow. Snow on the ground in Oklahoma and in Texas. And looking at the current radar, we do see that snow out in the radar near Guymon and Woodward, but mainly in that Amarillo area. But here in Oklahoma, we have that rain, that most of that heavy rain is to our east again, which is pretty bad because that flooding is going to start occurring with all the rain that we have seen over the past 24 hours in the eastern part of the state. But here is the timing of that rain. We do have some of the rain at 7 p.m. for your commute home near the eastern parts of the state, and some of that snow out in Woodward. As we go into Friday, that rain is just going to be continuous, just circling and circling its way around Dallas and Norman, with the heavier rain around Friday at 10 p.m. in the Oklahoma City and Norman areas. And we're just going to keep getting hit as we go into Saturday, and then early Saturday morning around 11 a.m., Muskogee, Tulsa, and McAllister, you're going to be the ones who are hit most by that rain. Going into the extreme parts and late parts of your weekend, we're going to see that rain move out of the area into the other parts of the states of the United States. Now, with that rain falling, it's going to be about 2 more inches of rain here in Norman and about 3 in McAllister. So we do have some more rain in our forecast, unfortunately.
Oh man, it seems like it's never ending at this point.
At all.
Oklahoma weather is just ever changing.
So no snow for us though?
No snow, but according to forecasters, we could see snow on Halloween.
Ooh, that's spooky or cold, I'm not sure. All right, well thanks Taylor. OU men's basketball is working to get students fired up for the upcoming season. A tweet sent by the program today read, "OU students, you don't just belong here, you belong closer." They're introducing a revamped student seating section at the Lloyd Noble Arena, one that allows easier access to the floor. Now this change will take place at men's basketball games according to the program's social media account. The concrete barriers that used to separate students from the floor are now removed, and the Pride will also be relocating to a new section behind the students. Students will also experience a height tunnel, which you can check out at the first home game on October 29th as the Sooners host Southeastern Oklahoma State in an exhibition game. It's going to be pretty cool. Well, on the flip side, Game 1 is in the books for the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Yes, Zach Radia has your full recap in sports.
It's basically a whole new team for OKC this season. Did it help at all? And find out how Kaylee Dow and the Sooners are gearing up for Bedlam tomorrow. Sports is around the corner. Welcome back to OU Nightly. I'm Zach Verdia, and it's time for sports. The Sooner football team travels to Manhattan for a tough road game at Bill Snyder Stadium. In 2017, Baker Mayfield led the Sooners to an 11-point comeback victory, capped off by Rodney Anderson's 22-yard touchdown with 7 seconds left. Lincoln Riley knows the type of environment that they are going into on Saturday.
This is a great place to play. You know, been there many times throughout the years, and it's definitely one of the best places in this league to go play. Consistent, great atmosphere, passionate fan base, and their football team's playing really well.
The Sooner soccer team takes a trip up to Stillwater tomorrow for Bedlam Part 2. The first matchup was a thrilling comeback 2-2 draw for OU all the way back in August. But the Sooners are excited to get a second crack at the Cowgirls come Friday night.
There's a lot more strategy that goes into it. There's a lot more design, if you like, in terms of highlighting your strengths, trying to minimize the strengths of your opponent.
It's my last Bedlam and it's my senior year, so I'm excited. It should be super fun and the vibe in the team is awesome. So our goal is just go out there and be us and come out with a W.
We had the comeback last game and we really wanted to finish that comeback with a win. So I think for us, it's going to be about getting that win.
Softball has continued their fall season domination. Riley Boone led the charge, going 4 for 5 with 4 RBIs in the Sooners' 16-0 routing of Crowder College. And big things are happening for OU basketball before the season even starts. Leading scorer from last year's team, Ana Yanusa, was named to the Cheryl Miller preseason watch list. Yanusa is one of 20 on the list of best small forwards in women's college basketball. The men's tennis team is hosting the ITA Central Region Championship in Norman starting today. Tennis stars Mason Byler and Mark Mandlick stopped by Sooner Sports Pad on Monday to hype up the season. You can catch the re-air of that episode right here after the show. And a new era of basketball has begun with a loss. OKC tipped off the season in Utah last night and settled in after a rocky first quarter. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander led the team into the fourth quarter with a 6-point lead, but inexperience showed late as the Thunder dropped the game to the Jazz 100-95 in the opener. The Washington Nationals went into Houston again last night and jumped on the dominant Astros starting pitching. The wheels fell off for the Astros in the top of the 7th after a few hits and an error later. The Nats cruised to a 12-3 victory to take a 2-0 lead in the series. In breaking news, the Astros fire assistant GM Brandon Taubman for inappropriate behavior following the ALCS win. And how about some love for some kickers out there? Grace Dudziak is the only girl on the Wellington High School football team and the only option to save the game at the end. Up 34-30 with 13 seconds left, Grace squibbed a kick past midfield. An opposing player picked it up, broke free, appeared to have the game-winning score, but Dudziak was there to make the play and win the game for the Dukes.
Oh, wow.
You hear sometimes you have some female kickers out there, but you don't really see a game-winning tackle last person to beat. It's pretty impressive.
Might have to get her a scholarship.
We have some openings on OU. Maybe next year we'll need a new one again.
All right.
Thanks, Zach. Well, the school crossing guard has a big reason to smile this weekend.
That's right. Coming up, how members of his community are giving back and saying thanks to him.
I'm Shannon Earhart, the OU Nightly Update Desk. Tim Ryan dropped out of the 2020 president election instead to run for the House of Representatives. In a video, he said he will return to his family, friends, and community in Ohio. That's it for now. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Shannon. An Arlington, Virginia man has big plans for this weekend. 60 local parents and students surprised Mr. Jeff with tickets to the World Series as a way to say thank you for keeping the kids safe.
Now, Mr. Jeff is a crossing guard at a local elementary school and a Washington Nationals super fan. Mr. Jeff and a guest will be on hand to watch Game 4 of the World Series come this Saturday. Interestingly enough, Nationals are up 2-0. They could put this thing away on Saturday. We'll see.
I'm excited for Mr. Jeff.
I know. Have fun. Well, Taylor, one last look at the weather.
Well, it's definitely cold outside, and those temperatures are going to be sticking around on Friday. But we do have another cold front that could be coming on Monday, which could even drop our temperatures, our lows below freezing. I'm talking like 31, 29. We're seeing that between Wednesday and Thursday, and even early Wednesday, we could see that as well.
Oh man, trying to get out the Carhartt.
Right. Oh my gosh, winter is coming.
It is. It is. All right.
All right. Thank you for watching OU Nightly, brought to you by the Gaylord College of Journalism and Mass Communication on the campus of the University of Oklahoma.
We'll see you back here on a fabulous Friday night tomorrow live at 4:30.
Have a great evening.
Good night.